So hey, hello everyone, and I welcome you all to Rankplus JEE English. Myself Manoj Kumar, your physics mentor, here to help you for your JEE journey. And today I'm going to start and finish a topic, motion in a plane, and I assure you that after watching this lecture, you'll be able to solve each and every questions from the previous year, and I hope that you'll be able to solve that too in your exam. So let's begin our lecture. This will be my flow of the lecture. First, we will discuss the basics of motion in a plane. What will be our approach when we are dealing with the questions when it comes from the motion in a plane? That you can say this kinematics 2D or 3D. If and after that, I'll be doing the projectile motion, and after that, rainman problem, riverman problem. So these are the things which I have to complete in this lecture. So let's begin with the basics. The first thing first, that what is actually a motion in a plane. Till now, we were studying that the object is moving in a straight line when we were dealing with the motion in a straight line. In this lecture, I'll be dealing with motion in a plane. And let's start with a 2D motion. In a 2D motion, I'll be breaking the motion into multiple parts. So my approach for this chapter will be to break and then make. So before moving forward with the real concept, I would like to ask one question. And the question is that if I'll tell you to draw a beautiful picture, I'll tell you that you have to draw a beautiful picture okay, then how will you going to do that? I'll tell you that you have to draw a picture, and that too, like, take a picture of my face. Will you able to draw it? Will you able to draw it? Many of you might say that, sir, we won't be able to do that, right? Can you please let me know in the chat section? Can you draw my face? No. I'm expecting that most of you are saying no. Is there anyone who is saying yes? Is there anyone who is saying yes? Hello? Yes. Is there anyone who can draw my picture? No? But what if I'll tell you? Most of you will say no. What if I'll tell you? Draw a rectangle or a square. I hope that many of you might say yes, you can. Will you say yes? Arey, will you say yes? Yes. But do you really know that when we are drawing any picture or any face, any portrait, it really means that we are collectively drawing all the pixels, because how the picture is formed, picture is nothing but a collection of pixels, right? A collection of pixel is basically a picture, right? So if I have to draw a picture, I can make lakhs or millions of squares or rectangles, and if I'll collect this in an organized manner, I'll be able to make this picture, beautiful picture, isn't it? So it's very easy to get very good marks if we are able to ace this skill to break it and then make it, right? So this is what I'm going to teach you, that we would not see a picture, we would not see our approach in this complete lecture will be like that. We won't see the picture, we will look for the pixels. We will divide our motion into multiple parts, into multiple accesses, and we will deal with those accesses with those equations, and then we combine them. Okay, first we will break it and then we will make it. This is going to be our approach when we are dealing with the motion in a plane, right? So this is not required for you to be doing in your notes. I do not want you to write these things. So, but this approach is very important, that we do not going to see the picture. We will only dealing with the pixels which we are having. Okay. Now, please mark your attendance in the chat section and light up the energy in the chat. So, let me begin with a very basic thing about the axis. We know that if I'm considering a motion in 2D, we have to take two axes. I'm taking x-axis and the y-axis. Okay, and this is the origin. I'm telling you that whenever you are seeing any type of motion, consider that x motion in x-axis is independent of motion in y-axis. Motion in x-axis is independent of motion in y-axis. And basically, we see, we observe, we calculate the data's value differently in x-axis and y-axis. This will be going to be our approach, right? So if there is a motion, let's say I have to write a displacement equation. So my displacement equation could be like this: S is equals to xt plus yt square, or yt, or x plus yt, right? So my equation could be like this. So in this equation, you are seeing that there is x-axis, there is y-axis. Both the axes are there. And if you have to calculate the velocity, the acceleration, or anything, any data, what I am telling you is that we have to split our given data into multiple formats. So I'll be doing that. The x-axis data, I'll be considering x-axis data, y-axis data separately. Okay. And I'll take x-axis displacement as sx, y-axis displacement as sy, velocity as vx for x-axis. For yx, I'll be taking this as vx, ux, uy. Ux, y. This is ax, this is ay. Okay. So these are the data which we have to deal with, right? So let's see and learn it through the questions, because there are two things. The first thing is that if I want to teach you this concept, I can do it using the theory, but ultimately you have to solve multiple numericals, right? Reality is that you have to solve numericals when you sit in the exams. So it's better that you will learn the things clearly through the numericals. So this is the numerical I have taken from JEE Main 2023 27th Gen Shift 1. Okay, in this shift, the question says to us that the position of an ant moving in YZ plane. So the plane is defined, as you know that ant can't fly. So if we have defined that ant is moving in YZ plane, the ant can't goes to the X plane. Okay, like it can go, but if the equation is restricting it to the YZ plane only, then you can clearly say that it won't go to the X plane. Okay, or XY plane or XZ plane. The equation given to us is, the displacement equation is given to us as t2 square k cap plus 5 k cap And the question is asking that you have to find out the magnitude and the direction of the velocity of the ant at t is equals to 1 second. So ultimately, they are asking us the velocity, and you know that I have already told you, and I have already like trained you to think in terms of the pattern, right? If you have watched my lecture, the kinematics 1D, the motion in a straight line, I told you that basically we are dealing with these datas x, v, and a, and there is continuous relationship between these data, that the displacement is related with velocity and velocity is related with acceleration, and similarly the acceleration is related with velocity and the displacement. So you must know that when you have to do the differentiation and when you have to do the integration. So here the displacement is given to us, right? This is the displacement, and when displacement is given, basically we have to find out the velocity, and we know that the velocity is nothing but the rate of change of displacement, right? That means I have to differentiate this equation which is given to me, right? So if you differentiate this, you will be getting 4t j cap plus this will become 0 because it's a constant value, and when you differentiate the constant value, ultimately it gives you the result 0, right? Because the constant value does not change, and differentiate tells us about that when this quantity is changing, what will be the effect, right? So I'll be getting the velocity, it's in the vector term, 4t j cap, and you know that what does this j cap denotes? This j cap denotes that the direction is, as you know, that there are three axes, x, y, and z, right? So you know that there are three axes, x, y, and z, and to denote these axes in a vector format, we basically use these symbols I cap, j cap, and k cap. So when you are using j cap, it means that the velocity direction is along the y axis, right? But in a question, we have a separate condition. In this question, the question is asking the magnitude and the direction of the velocity at a particular instant of time, and the time is given to us as t is equals to 1 second. So you have to put the time as 1 second. So if I put the value of time as 1 second, I'll be getting the value as 4, right? 4j cap. And now I have to check all these things in my options. So please do let me know that what is the correct answer. I have already solved this for you. Just you have to look for the answers among the given options. So J1, thermal properties of matter takes thermal properties of matter is not I would say a high weightage chapter. It's a very low weightage chapter. I would take thermal properties of matter, thermodynamics, and the KTG. I'll take all these three topics collectively, okay, in a one shot. So don't worry. Please follow this series. And if you are following this series, I'm sure that you are gaining your score. So the answer to this question is, and do share these sessions with your friends. Whenever you are coming for the session, please share this session with your friend. Okay? Okay, Jayant. Where are you from, Jayant? Where are you from? I hope that this thing is clear to you, my dear. And the option is this. Let's move to the another question. And this question is also from JEE Main. As I already told you that in this series, which we have started for you as a crash course, I'll be covering the theory part. I'll be covering those theory parts very fast, right? And then I'll be moving towards the previous year questions. And if there is any standard questions which I want you to know, I'll be solving that questions also. So this series is going to be very, very helpful if you are a serious aspirant and you really want to transform your score from low score to the high score. And you will start seeing the changes instantly, because I'm a teacher who believes to give the result instantly. I not like that that you have to wait for some time, 15 days or 20 days. I'll be showing you the result in few hours, right? So this is the question directly from JEE Main 2024, and the date was 4th of April, shift 1. So in that shift, you were having this question. So the question says to us that the coordinates of a particle moving in XY plane. So when we are seeing that the motion is happening in a plane, we have to use the concept which I am teaching you now, right? So basically the coordinates they are giving in the question, we have two separate equations. The x coordinate is 2 plus 4t, the y is 3t plus 8t square. What you have to do is you have to find the velocity. For the velocity part, you have to differentiate it dx divided by dt, and you will get the velocity as 4, right? Simply you can do this. This is the velocity in the x direction, right? Similarly, for getting the velocity in the y, you can differentiate this dy by dt, and you will be getting 3 plus 16t. Okay, but in this question we have to look for the options as well, and if I see the option, I'm seeing that in all the options I have to calculate the acceleration, because it's all about acceleration. So it means that I have to differentiate it again. So if I'll differentiate it again, ax will come out to be 0. If I'll take this acceleration ay, this will be 16. Okay. Now we have to read all the options to get the correct answer. I always say one thing, that whenever you are solving previous year questions, the questions are not important to you. The data given in the question is not important to you. The important thing is to get to get the topic from which they are asking you the question, they are framing the question, and the second thing is the pattern of the question, because it is ultimate the pattern which will help you to gain the confidence. It's ultimately the pattern. You know that getting a success is a pattern, getting failed is a pattern, right? So let's solve this question. We have everything now. We have the acceleration, we have the acceleration in x axis, we have the acceleration in y axis. If I read the option number 1, it says that uniformly accelerated having motion along a parabolic path. Uniform acceleration, yes, the acceleration is uniform here because there is no time, there is no time variable in the acceleration equation. So I can say that it's uniformly accelerated. There is uniform acceleration, right? And when there is uniform acceleration, now I have to take the path. What will be the path? For the path, I can use the equation y 3t plus 8t square. Can use this thing. X minus 2 divided by 4 is equals to t. Put this value. Y is equals to 3. X minus 2. And you know that this is the equation of a parabola. So clearly, I can say that the option number 1 is the correct. that the motion is uniformly accelerated and it's along a parabolic path, because uniform motion along a straight line, it's not a straight line equation, right? So it can't be a straight line. Now, uniformly acceleration having a motion along a straight line, as I already told you that it can't be a straight line, because for being a straight line motion, the value of x must be a single power, right? But there you are seeing that the power to the x is 2. Now here it is saying that it's non-uniformly accelerated. For being non-uniformly accelerated, there must be the value of t, right? So I hope that this question is clear to you. Is it clear, my dear? Please do let me know in the chat. If you think that this method works, type got it. And if not, then do let me know why. Ado. So will you say shortcut and tricks? Yeah, sure. I'll be teaching a lot of shortcuts. Srivats Kumar, Jayavant, Madhu Varun, where are you from? Shall we move? Is this question clear to you? Is this question clear to you? Let's move. Now, now the very important part is the projectile motion. And you know that if you are studying it for the first time, it doesn't matter whether you are studying it for the first time, whether you are studying it like maybe it that you are studying it for the second time, third time, or you face multiple issues while dealing with the projectile motion. I can bet you that after watching this video or this short 20-minute topic which I am going to teach you, you will going to ace all the questions related to the projectile motion, because this is ultimately approach which I am going to follow whenever I am solving the projectile motion. So for the projectile motion, what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you a basic four things, right? So basically, I'm going to teach you the H, R, T plus equation of trajectory. What's it? And the equation of trajectory. So only these four things you must know. Okay. So in the projectile motion, you must know these four things. What is this? This is the height. This is the horizontal range. This is the time of light and the equation of trajectory. And the second thing is the approach which we are going to follow. Our approach is very simple, very easy to learn, that we won't see the picture. We will going to see the pixels, because it is ultimately the pixel which will help you to solve the numericals, right? So we won't see the question, we will be seeing the data in the question, and we will split the data in x-axis and y-axis. Whenever I'm telling you that you have to see the pixels means that you have to consider data, you have to consider data of x-axis and y-axis separately, of x-axis and y-axis separately. Okay, so for doing that, see the approach, what how we will do. I'm drawing a ground for you. Let's assume that there is a soccer ground. Okay, let me paint the ground green. Okay, so this is the ground, and in this ground we have one player here, and there is a ball. And you know that this player is very good. It's a crash course type. JEE Main 2025 crash course. This is the only crash course which we are currently running. So consider that this is the ball we are having, and this person is kicking this ball, right? When this person kicking this ball gets the flight which we were looking for, and now you can say that this ball flies and then again hits the ground at some particular point. Okay, so this is my A point and this is my B point. This is my A point, this is my B point. Okay, and now from here to here, from here to here, I'm saying the horizontal distance which this object is covering, this is known as range. The horizontal distance which this object is covering is known as range, right? And this person was able to kick this ball with initial velocity as u at an angle of theta. So I already told you that we have to do is we have to change the picture which is given to us into the pixels. That means I have to divide the data into the x-axis and the y-axis. So this is the picture we are having, and I have to change this picture into the x-axis and the y-axis. So if I'll divide this initial velocity into the x-axis direction, I can say that the initial velocity towards the x-axis is u cos theta. I hope you know that how to resolve the vector. If this vector is going in this direction and making an angle theta with the horizontal, then the velocity towards the horizontal will be u cos theta, and the velocity towards the vertical is uy, it's u sine theta. Okay, so this is the initial velocity, and this is basically the initial velocity towards the x-axis, and this is the initial velocity towards the y-axis. And I'm writing the x-axis data and the y-axis data here. This is from the ground to ground projectile. This is a special type of projectile question in which we have to take ground to ground projectile, right? So this is x-axis, and here we are having the y-axis. For the x-axis, we have the initial velocity as u cos theta. For the y-axis, we have the initial velocity as u sine theta. And you know that when the object has attained the maximum height at that moment of time, the vertical component, or I could say the y-axis data for the velocity, will be 0. At maximum height, Vy is equals to 0 at maximum height. Okay, and here there is no acceleration at all. So this will going to be my final velocity as well. The initial velocity and the final velocity in the x-axis will remain same, and that will be u cos theta. How many of you got it? Please do let me know in the comment section, and light up the comment section with your energy, because this is the thing which is required. I hope that this thing is clear. So both you are from ABC. Sir, acceleration. Madhu, it's fully free. Yeah, ABC motion. Right? Is it clear? Okay. So this thing is clear. Now, for getting the range, we know that when acceleration is 0, there is a simple formula which we have to use, and that formula is speed is equals to distance divided by time. And you know that when I have to get the distance, This distance is equals to speed into time. Okay. This distance is equals to speed into time. And the distance r is equals to speed. If I'll talk about the speed is u cos theta and the time of flight is t. I'll be substituting the value of t later on, but this is the data which we are having for the x-axis. There is no acceleration at all. For the y-axis, we have the acceleration continuously equals to minus of g. So these are the data which we are having for the y-axis. Okay, I hope that this thing is clear to you. Now let's move towards the calculation, how we are going to calculate the values which we require, because these are the values which we have to consider, and these are the formulas which you must remember. The formula for the height, the maximum height raised in the projectile, the range of the projectile, that is the horizontal distance, and the time of the projectile, the time of the flight, you could say that, right? And the equation of projectile. So why you're not attending? Both ABC Motion. Actually, ABC Motion, this YouTube channel is created to teach in English. That's why the name is Rankplus JEE English. It is used to cater the students who knows English and are from South India or foreign countries. Okay, and preparing for the JEE exam. So let's move. Now I have to. There is a separate channel if you want to study in Hindi. There is a separate channel, Rankplus IIT JEE. So you could go for that channel. There I'll be teaching in Hindi. So for ground to ground projectile, here for x-axis data, you have ux is equals to u cos theta. Okay, acceleration of x is 0. The range I already told you that it's ux into t. That means it's u cos theta and the time of flight. Okay, so let's keep this thing here. And for the y-axis data, we have uy as u sin theta, ay as minus g, uy as u sin theta, ay as minus g, and at maximum height, vy is equals to 0, right? And to get the height, you could use a very, very familiar equation that v square minus u square is equals to 2as. For the final velocity for being 0, I could say that u square divided by minus of 2g, minus minus will cut down, it is equals to s. And in this scenario, I could replace the same equation, the displacement. I could replace this equation because in this scenario, we have a uy here. So for a uy, because here a u is actually a u sin theta, right? So if you put this thing, so you will be getting h is equals to u square sin square theta divided by 2g. So this is the first formula of height. We have to get three formulas here. The first formula is for height. Is this thing clear? Is this thing clear to you? The height formula is u square sin square theta divided by 2g. And you know, if you have studied kinematics 1D with me, I have already told you that if a person is throwing vertical throw, for a vertical throw, I am telling you, that if a person is throwing a ball with an initial velocity of u, if a person is throwing a ball just like this with an initial velocity of u, vertically he is throwing, then what will happen? The height, the maximum height raised is u square by 2g. Similarly, I could say that here also I can imagine that if a person is throwing the ball in an inclined manner and the angle made from the horizontal is theta, I'll be considering I'll be considering the vertical velocity only. So this uy is equals to u sine theta, and if I'll consider this vertical velocity only, I could place this u as u sine theta and I would get the same value. So I hope that you may not be remembering this formula, or I would say that you do not have to mug up this formula. The only thing which you have to learn or to remember in your mind is the case related to the vertical throw. And if you know the vertical throw, you could easily get the formula for the projectile, right? And I already told you that in the projectile cases, you only need to remember these four things. And if you remember these four things, I bet you that you will be able to solve each and every question. In some types of questions, which will be some difficult or tricky, I would say, you have to know this approach that we will be going to see the picture. We would not see the picture, we will see the pixels, right? So this is what we got. And for getting the time, I can use, for getting the time, Vy minus Uy is equals to Ay, right? I'm writing the equation for the y-axis. As you know that at the maximum height, Vy is 0, I can say that t, the time to reach the maximum height, the time to reach the maximum height. Okay, so t up will be equals to Uy divided by Ay, and that is equals to u sine theta divided by Ay is g. And you know what? If there is no air friction, if there is no air friction, I can say T up is equals to T down. And if T up is equals to T down, I can say that T is equals to twice of T up, and the formula will be 2u sine theta divided by g. So this is our second formula, which you must remember whenever you are solving the projectile questions. This is our second formula. And now the last formula for the range. And this range formula is very, very important because it is like a mathematical type of formula, because here I'm going to use the time value from here, u cos theta, 2u sine theta divided by g, and you will be getting r is equals to 2u square sine theta cos theta divided by g. And you know that 2 sine theta cos theta is equals to sine 2 theta. So I could write this thing as u square sine 2 theta divided by g. This is also a very, very important formula. And there is an important note which you have to remember for the range. So note here, to get maximum, first point is to get maximum range. To get maximum range, theta must be 45 degree. Okay, and for that, R max is u square by. Second thing is, for complementary angle, the range are same. For complementary angle, for complementary angles, the range are same. Theta, 90 minus theta. Alpha, or you could say if the theta is 30 degree, 60 degree. Okay, so whenever you are having the angles like alpha plus beta is equals to 90 degree, there the range will be same. There the range will be same. So these are three formulas which I told you, and like I have derived this formula for you. And you know that when I started the topic projectile, I told you that the only four things you must know whenever you are solving the projectile questions, if it is related to the ground to ground projectile, the formulas are H, R, T, and the equation of trajectory. So let's now solve for the equation of trajectory, right? I'm not taking the next page because I want each and everything to be concise for you. So let me create some space here so that I can concise each and everything only in this page, right? So let me do the equation part for getting the equation of trajectory. For getting the equation of trajectory, can I say, can I write the equation for x? Do you know that what is basically the equation? The equation is that when we know that when this object is moving at any instant of time, you want to know the exact position, the x comma y coordinate. Right, if I'm saying that this object is at this position, you want to know that what is the x coordinate and what is the y coordinate at this point. At a particular time, what is the x coordinate, what is the y coordinate. So if you know the equation, you could easily get that, right? So if I'm writing the x part, it is easy, u cos theta and t. For the y part, that is the displacement, s is equals to ut. Ut is u sine theta t minus of half g t square. How many of you agree with me? For the x-axis, if I want to write the distance, it will be like this. For the y-axis, it will be like this, right? And I can find out the value of t from here. The value of t is x by u cos theta. Okay, so my y value is u sine theta into x divided by u cos theta minus half g. For getting the t square, could write x square divided by u square cos square theta. Can write y, u and u will cut, x tan theta minus half gx square u square cos square theta. This is the equation. Okay, and similarly, if I'll multiply this equation, I could write this more precisely as 1 minus x by r. And multiple times you have to use these equations. This is also Very, very important. Only these points are important for the projectile. Okay, the first thing is the h value. First thing I told you, you must remember the height, the time, the range, and the fourth one is the equation of trajectory. So only these four things are required. Okay, and if I'll talk about, so I hope that this thing is clear. Is this thing clear? Please write these formulas in one sheet. I can concise this. For a projectile, motion, and in a projectile motion, if I'm considering the case from ground to ground, is like this is u sine theta, this is u cos theta. Okay, and this is the height. So I told you to remember the first formula for height. The height formula is u sine theta whole square divided by 2g. U square sine square theta divided by 2g. Second thing is r. It's 2u square sine theta cos theta divided by g. U square sine 2 theta divided by g. T. T is 2u sine theta divided by g. And for the equation of trajectory, you have y is equals to x tan theta 1 minus x by r. Okay, so these were the points which you must remember. And for JEE mains, there is another type of projectile which might come is from a height to ground type. From height to ground. Inclined projectile, I have never seen that the inclined projectile questions are coming in JEE mains. So that pattern is not required to be done when you are preparing just for the JEE main. But if your target is to get into the JEE advanced, then you must revise the topic of the inclined projectile as well. For ground to ground, these are the things, only 4 items you must remember. For height to ground, if I'm considering from height to ground, let me consider the height here. And if you throw it by initial velocity u, the height is h, you will get a range here as this. Okay. Now, the first thing which you must do whenever you are dropping something from a height, the first approach, what you must do whenever you are throwing something from a height is to find the time. Okay. The first step is to get the time. First step is to find time. And to get the time is very important because I know that we are not basically providing any velocity towards the y-axis, so I could use the equations of motion. So time of fall will be equals to under root 2h divided by g. So this is basically a time. And the next thing is to get the range, this r value. This range will be equals to ut. That means it's u under root 2h divided by g. So this is the formula which you must remember. Please write down the formula, write down the mind map. This is the mind map for the projectile motion. And I promised you that these things going to benefit you a lot, because ultimately you will be getting the questions directly based on these formulas, based on the recent patterns of JEE Main 2024 2023, because now we are going to solve the direct questions from JEE Main 2024. Are you all ready? Please light up the comment section. Are you all ready? Is it clear to everyone? Please do let me know in the chat. Sir, NCRT mark PDF, sir. Navadeep Deepu. Okay. ABC motion. Okay, ABC motion, I got you. And if you want to learn from me in English, you could go to a separate channel is there. Rankplus IITJ. IITJ Rankplus. So go to that channel, IITJ Rankplus. There I'm teaching in English. Okay. Sir, because of pattern change, if there is toughness of paper like 2019 or 2020, see, do not get indulged into the rumors that the paper will be difficult or the paper would be easy. If it will be easy, it will be easy for everyone. And I do not a kind of a person who wants paper to be very easy. I'm a kind of a person who wants paper to be at a par or could be at a higher level, because I believe that if you are taking coaching, then only you will be able to solve those questions. And if you haven't done any coaching, or if you haven't prepared for the JEE exams, you won't be able to solve those questions, right? So this must be your approach, that paper must be difficult. But if the paper would come to be easy, then what would happen? The person or the student who is not taking coaching, or who is not serious about the JEE, they would also be able to solve the questions, right? So it's better that the paper would come to be difficult. And let's solve these questions. These questions are directly from JEE Main 2024. As I already told you that in my lecture series, in this JEE 2025 crash course, you are going to see in all my lectures, I'll be covering these three things: the theory part, the previous year questions from JEE 2024 and the 2023, and the third part is the mind map, the pattern. I'll be showing you that you have to remember the pattern, because if you remember all the patterns, then I can bet you that your speed will increase, your efficiency will increase, and the response, the stimulus. But whenever you are seeing the questions, the first thing which will come to your mind is the correct solution, right? So let's solve this question. In this question, it is asking that the maximum height reached by a projectile is what? Maximum height reached by the projectile is here it is 64 meter. The maximum height reached by the projectile is 64 meter. If the initial velocity is half, the new maximum height of the projectile is what? Okay, so this is the question for you. Now solve it. What will be the answer? Suraj, can I skip this chapter? No, Suraj, you can't. This chapter is very, very important. You can't skip the kinematics, because if you skip the kinematics, then what would happen? There is dependency of kinematics in each and every topic, right? So how we will going to approach this question? In this question, we have provided the maximum height reached by the projectile. So h is equals to u square sine square theta divided by g, is given to you as 64. This is the initial scenario, or I could say initial case 1. For case 2, for getting the height h dash, the initial velocity is halved and nothing other things. We are not changing any other things. We have just changed the initial velocity to the half. So I am considering the u dash as u by 2. The h dash is u dash square sine square theta divided by g, u square sine square theta divided by 4g is equals to, can you write this thing, u square sine square this? My answer will be 64 divided by 4, 16 meter. My answer will be 16 meter. Clear? Clear ABC motion? Bodh, Madhu, is this thing clear? You let me know. Okay, let's move forward to the next question we are having. So this question is also from JEE 2024, 8th of April, shift 2. The angle of projection for a projectile to have the maximum horizontal range to have same, okay, to have same. Basically, the condition is given to us to have same. This is the condition on which you have to solve. The condition is we have same horizontal range and the height. So according to the question, what you have to do is you have to keep r is equals to h. The formula for range is u square sine 2 theta divided by g is equals to u square sine square theta divided by g divided by 2g. Okay, and you can easily cut this u square by u square, g by g. You will get 2 sine theta dot cos theta is equals to sine square theta divided by 2. Sine theta and sine theta is cut. 4 is equals to tan theta and theta will be equals to tan inverse. And the correct option is this one. We got the correct options, right? Now let's move to the another part. This Let's move to the next question. This question is from JEE Main 2024, 8th of April, shift 2. I think that he doesn't change this shift. This question is from another shift. Okay, the operator has not changed the shift. So the body of mass m thrown horizontally with velocity v from top of the tower of height h touches the ground at a distance of 100 meter. Okay, so as per the question, we are having a height h, and if we are taking a velocity u, we are taking a velocity as v. So I am taking a velocity as v. The distance, the range is 100 meter. Okay, the distance is 100 meter. The mass of the body is m. And now what you have to do is You have increased the height 4h. Now h dash is equals to 4h, right? Tower height is 4h here, and the body mass is 2m. You know that in kinematics, the mass, like the effect of mass, is not there, and the initial velocity is v by 2. They are asking the r dash. It what will be the r dash? Okay, it's the question is very very simple, I would say, because we know that r is equals to the initial velocity there and the time, right? So I could write this as v under root 2 h divided by g. I can write it as v, r is equals to v, and this is 100. 2h divided by g. And for here, r dash is equals to v dash and t dash. Right? V dash is v by 2. And for getting t dash, you could use 2 or 2h. That means 8h divided by g. Take 2 outside from here. V by 2 into 2h by g will be cut, and it's coming out to be 2h by g. And this is same value. Same value we are getting. What does it mean? It means that the r dash is also 100 meter. R dash is also 100 meter. Okay, so the answer to this question is 100 meter. The shift might be different, but this question is from JEE Main 2024. I hope that this concept is clear to you. This concept is very, very important. If you think that this method works and you got it, please write in the comment section that you got it. Please write in the chat. And even if you are watching this video after the recording or after this class, you are watching this recording, please do write your feedback in the comment, because I wanted you to write the feedback, the comment, right? Right. Move. Let's move. The next part is, this question is inspired from the question of H.C. Verma. As per this question, a ball, as per this question, a ball rolls off the top of a stairway with the horizontal velocity u. The steps are, okay, let me draw the steps for you. Okay, this is 1, 3, this is 5th step. Okay, according to the question, what's there? A ball rolls off the a ball is there rolls off the top of the stairway with a horizontal velocity. There is a horizontal velocity. There is no component or nothing talks about the vertical velocity. So I could take the value of the velocity as u, the initial velocity. The steps are 0.1 meter high, so I can write these values as 0.1 meter, 0.1 meter. And like after some times this will be having a projectile motion, right? The minimum velocity u with which the ball just hits the step 5, just hits the step 5. So to just hit the step 5, that means a limiting value. I could say that the trajectory must be like that it just clears the step 4, isn't it? To get that the ball just hits the step 5, I want that the trajectory must follow the path so that it just misses the step 4. We have to decrease one step, isn't it? And when I decrease this step, I could easily get that what is basically the horizontal distance and the vertical distance get there from this point. Okay, so what I'm telling you, when you take data from here to here, point 1, point 1, point 1, 1, 2, 4, for getting at the edge of the fourth step, I have to keep this value here. Okay, so this value, that means the height is 0.4 meter. And from here to here, it's 0. And now you can substitute the value. I told you that to solve any questions related to the horizontal projectile, the first thing what you have to do is to get the time. Okay, and the moment you get the time, you can do one thing is to get the range, right? So we know that what is the range here. The range is the value of x, and that is zero point 0.4, and the value of the range is the initial velocity u under root 2h divided by, right? So I could write it as 0.4 u under root 2h. The height is 0.8 divided by g. Take a square, zero point 0.4 multiplied by 0 0.4 is equals to u square into 0.8 divided by 10. Cut down. U is equals to under root 2. This is the value which we are getting, and here the value given to you is root x meter per second. And if you are solving previous year questions, that too particularly from JEE 2024, 2023, or after the question, like after COVID 2020, you might be seeing that the answers or the options which you are getting is not the options which were there before the COVID. Because before COVID, if this question was from before COVID exams, then it might come in MCQ format and the value would be given to us as root 2. But as this question is after the COVID patterns, so after the COVID pattern, usually what happens is you have, even after getting the answer, you have to again check and manipulate the answer, right? So here I'm basically getting a root 2 value. So they are asking us what is the value of x. So the value of x is 2. So this is what happening after the COVID, right? Let's move. Now, let's solve this question. This question is from JEE Main 2023, 8th of April, shift 2. In this question, a trajectory of projectile is given to you. Projected from the ground is given by y is equals to x minus of x squared divided by 20, where x and y are measured in meter. The maximum height attained by the projectile will be. Okay, so this question is very, very easy. Why easy? Because if you compare this with the general equation of the projectile, I know that the general equation is y is equals to x tan theta 1 minus x by r. And according to the question, the given value, according to the question, y is equals to x. I'm taking the x common, 1 minus x by 20. So if you compare these equations 1 and 2, if you compare these equations 1 and 2, then you will get, if you compare equation 1 and 2, you get tan theta is equals to 1. You can consider theta is equals to 45 degree. Okay, and r as 20. You know what? The formula of r is u square sine 2 theta divided by g. And if you substitute the value of theta as 45 degree, you will be getting the maximum range. And for getting the maximum range, the formula is u square by g. So the value of u square by g is this 20. Okay. Now, but according to the question, we do not have to find out the range or any other thing. We have to find out the height. For the height, we have a separate formula. The formula is u square sine square theta divided by 2g. Right now, here the value of u square by g is given to us as 20. So 20 divided by 2, and the value of sine square theta, the theta is 45 degree. So you could use 1 by root 2 square. It is 10 into 1 by 2. You are getting 5 meter. The maximum height you are getting as 5 meter. Maximum height you are getting is 5 meter. Is this thing clear? The question is from JEE Main 2023. I hope that this question is clear to you. Is it? Let's move to the another part, and the answer is D here. If you haven't marked it, the answer is D here. Let's move. The projectile is covered. Let's solve this question. This question is from JEE 2024, 38th Jan, shift 1. According to this question, a projectile of mass m is projected with initial velocity u, making an angle of 30 degree with the horizontal. The magnitude of angular momentum of the projectile about the point of projection when the particle is at maximum height. Okay, let's solve this question. According to this question, if you are giving an initial velocity u at an angle of 30 degree, here from this point to this point, okay, now you have to find out the maximum when the particle is at maximum height. You have to find out the momentum. You know that when the particle is at maximum height, the velocity here is u cos theta only, because there would be no component of the vertical velocity. So the only velocity which I am having is the horizontal velocity. So you could write this thing as ux is equals to u cos 30 degree. Cos 30 degree is root 3 by 2. So I can write this as u root 3 ux is equals to, or u is equals to root 3 by 2 q. Okay. Now we have to find out the angular momentum, and you know that angular momentum is basically r cross mv. For r, I could replace this as h u square sine square theta divided by 2g into mass. U is this thing. So L is equals to u square, u cube root 3 u cube, or multiply this thing, root 3 mu cube divided by 2 4g. Put the value of sine square theta as 1 by 2 and 1 by 4. So you will be getting, yes, the A option you are getting, root 3 by 16 mu cube divided by g. So this is the angular momentum which you are getting. I hope that this thing is clear to you. Is it? Please do let me know in the comment. ABC motion. Is this thing clear? Is it clear? So let's move to the next part. This is the next part. This question is from JEE 2024, 31st January, shift 2. As per the question, a body starts falling freely from height h and it hits an inclined plane. This question is very tricky question, kind of, if you are sitting for the uh, main exam. So a body starts falling freely from a height h, hits an inclined plane in its path at height h. This is the small height. As a result of this h perfectly elastic impact, the direction of the velocity of the body becomes horizontal. The value of h by h, for which the body will take the maximum time to reach the ground, is okay. So what we are going to do is, first we have to draw the diagram, because it's all about the imagination. Logic can take you from A to Z, but imagination can take you anywhere. And whenever you are solving the numerical physics question, I always want my student to be doing the imagination work and relating it with the given concept, or the examples which you have learned, because this thing is very important, right? So let's move. And here what is happening is, imagine that this object is falling from a height. Here I'm dropping this object and I'm taking that from here, the height is h, and when this object is dropping, this object is hitting at this point, this is a small h, object is taking the velocity here. Let's take the velocity is v. This is h minus h, this is h, and after this there will be a projectile motion. Okay, so as per the question, you have to find out the value of h by h. This is the value of h from where the object is falling free fall, and this is the small h when the object is actually hitting the inclined plane, and this inclined plane is at some angle. Let's consider this angle to be theta. Okay, now to get the maximum time, we must have to calculate the equation of time. Let me tell you that the time taken will be t1 plus t2. I'm considering this as t1, and the value of t1 will be under root 2 s. S is h minus of h divided by g, and here the value of t2, it is under root 2h divided by g. Okay, so consider this thing. T is equals to plus this thing. Okay, and now I can consider one thing. I could take root 2 by g common. The value will be this, and if I'll differentiate this, dt by dh, I'll get 1 divided by 2 under root h minus h plus 1 by under root h. Right, now I could consider that if dt by dh is equals to 0, put dt by dh is equals to 0, and if you consider this thing, if you consider this thing, this will be cut, this will be cut. I could, okay, here, there, the minus 1 will come. Okay, now if I'll put this, I could write under root h minus h is equals to under root h minus h is equals to h, 2h is equals to h, and we require h divided by h is equals to 2. So this is what we want. To get h divided by h and to get the maximum time, the h by h value must be 2. So it's a numerical type question. Now let's move to the another part. Now this question is from JEE Advanced. This question is very, very popular, and I hope that if you have attended any coaching, or if you have attended any mock papers or a complete test series, you might have got this question, right? So according to this question, airplanes A and B, so there are two airplanes, this and this, are flying with constant velocity in the same vertical plane but at different angles. The angle for this A plane is 30 degree and for the B plane is 60 degree with the horizontal, right? So the speed at A is 100 root 3. Okay, the speed VA is 100 root 3. At time t is equals to 0, an observer in A finds B at a distance of 500 meter. This observer sees B uh, moving with a constant velocity perpendicular to the line of motion A. If at t is equals to 0, A just escapes being hit by B in t naught. Okay, so basically what is required here is what you have to find out. Okay, fine. As time t is equals to 0, okay, in t naught second is, okay, so you have to find out t naught. This is what you have to calculate. Okay, this is the thing which you have to calculate. This question is from JEE Advanced 2014. So how we will going to approach this question? The first thing what we are going to do is draw the diagram, because diagram is very very important, because ultimately if you are able to visualize this question becomes very very easy to solve. And if you feel that, you will start feeling that yes, JEE Advanced could be done if your concepts are clear. This is our airplane and this is flying at a velocity of 100 root 3. The angle here is 30 degree. This is the velocity of VB. Okay, and this is 30 degree. You know what? If you do one thing, just divide the, or I could say take the velocity in x-axis direction and the y-axis direction, because this will going to be a 60 degree, right? Speed of A is 100 root 3 meter. At time t equals an observer A finds that the distance between them is 500 meter. Okay, so this distance is 500 meter. This is the angle 60 degree, and that part will become VB cos 60 degree. And if you find out the perpendicular here, you'll be getting VB sine 60 degree, right? And you know what? If this aeroplane is going in this direction and you are seeing one thing, I could say that I could say one thing. Let me draw this thing here. See, to calculate the time, as you know that this aeroplane A, this aeroplane B is just missing the aeroplane A, right? So I could say that I know that speed is equals to distance divided by time. So time will be equals to distance by speed, right? So the t naught value which I have to find out is the distance is 500 meter and the velocity is vb sine 60 degree I have to take. So ultimately the question is only about getting the velocity vb, and to get the velocity vb it's about the relative data which we have to see here, because this is the ultimate thing which you have to calculate ultimately. So according to the question, there are two airplanes A and B. They are both flying with the constant velocity in the same vertical plane, but with different angles. Angles I have already displayed here. So the speed of A is 100 root 3 meter per second. Okay, fine. You could do one thing. You can also change the values, that what would be the value of in this direction and in this direction. Similarly, what will be the value of this in this direction and this direction, right? So but that is not required. At time t is equals to 0, an observer in A finds B at a distance of 500 meter. This observer sees B moving with the constant velocity perpendicular to the line of motion of A. Okay, so I'm saying that if this, what basically I have to take one thing here, that if I'll extend, because VB is, if I'll take a parallel line here parallel to this, I'm taking a parallel line to this. Okay, this is parallel to this, and if this is parallel to this, then what will happen? This is 30 degree, this is 30 degree, right? And here you have VB here. This angle is 60 degree, and you know that if this angle is 60 degree, this whole angle is 60 degree. But what will be the value of this angle? Because if this angle is 60 degree, this angle is 120 degree, right? Take this as this value is 60 degree, this value is 120 degree, this is 150 degree, this value is 30 degree. So I can take this value as 30 degree, right? So here I could say that VB cos 30 degree, and perpendicularly I could say that VB sin 30 degree. So I have to resolve this in this format. So it's going to be VB sin 30 degree. Okay, I hope that you know that how we got the value here. This VB cos 60, VB cos 30 degree is equals to VA. Why it's VA? Because that finds B at a distance this much, sees B moving with a constant velocity. Okay, this observer, the observer is at A, sees B moving with a constant velocity. What does it mean? It means that both of them are going in the same direction with the same velocity, right? So that is why I resolve these values into this thing. So I could say that VA is equals to VB cos 30 degree, and the value of cos 30 degree is root 3 by 2. So you could write this VB cos 30 degree is root 3 by 2, and the value of here is 100 root 3. This will be cut. VB will be equals to 200. So VB is 200 meter per second. The velocity is 200 meter per second, and this is what you have to write down. here to get the value of TD. So TD will be equals to 500 divided by VB is 200 and sine is 1 by 2, cut down 100, 0 and 0 will cut, this will be equals to 5 seconds. So my T naught is equals to 5 seconds. This is what we have to do, right? I hope you got it. This, what we do is we have to take this value, like this value is direction, this is VB. Basically I have to resolve this value here. This is 30 degree, this will going to be VB cos 30 degree. This is what being to be done in this question. I hope that you got it. Are you able to solve it now? What? Please do let me know in the comment. Is it clear, my dear? Is every step clear to you? This question is from JEE Advanced 2014 from the projectile. And if you see the 2024 paper as well, you are getting the questions from projectile. So this projectile motion is very, very important if you are preparing for JEE exam. And this will going to help you in JEE main, and this will going to help you also in for the JEE advanced. Let's move towards the Rain Man problem. So what does this Rain Man problem is? In Rain Man problem, basically we have to handle two things. We handle the resultant velocities, we handle the relative velocity. So there are two concepts which we must have to know when we are solving the Rain Man problem. Here, basically, there are two concepts. The one concept is about the resultant velocity, and the another concept is about the relative velocity. Okay, for getting the resultant velocity, imagine that there is a cloud, and due to this cloud, the rain is coming down, rain is pouring down on the ground. And here we are having the ground, right? I could say that this is the velocity of rain, right? Rain always falls vertically, and I'm considering the rain as a vector. So let me consider this as minus of r. R is the value of the rain vector, and the direction is minus of j cap, right? I can take. Okay. Now what if there is wind? What if there is wind? This is the cloud. So wind is also flowing. Rain is also going down. Ultimately, when it falls on the ground, you have to consider the resultant. You have to consider the resultant velocity. So resultant velocity v net is basically the sum of vr vector plus v wind vector. Okay, I hope that this thing is clear. And let me assume this thing, that if this value is to be minus of r j cap, and this value, if I'm considering that this wind is going in the minus y direct or minus x direction, so I can take this vw as minus of w I cap, right? So you could write this thing as v net is equals to minus of w I cap minus of r j cap. And if you have to calculate the v net, the V net will be equals to under root omega is W square plus R square. And if somebody is asking you that what is the angle, if somebody asks you that what is the angle here, so angle you could easily find out using the angle you could easily find out minus of Rj cap minus of Wi cap. So tan theta will be equals to W by R. Okay. Now, I hope that this case is clear to you. When there is a wind, what will happen? We have to find out the resultant velocity. And now imagine that there is a person, Ria. Okay, so it's clear to Ria. Now imagine that there is a man, or you could imagine a woman as well. Because in the last class, somebody was telling me that, sir, why you always take man? And why you always say that it's rain man problem? Why it's not a rain woman problem? But because it will be difficult for me to imagine woman, imagine a woman in a rain situation. People will start making jokes around that. So that is why we are taking the man. So it's a rain man problem. So imagine there is a man here and the rain is falling vertically. So to now this person velocity is 0. The rain is falling vertically. I'm taking this rain as minus of R j cap. I'm considering the velocities or any data in the vector form. Okay, if you take every data in vector format, then you will be able to solve these questions in few seconds. Otherwise, it will take a lot of time. So here, what will happen if this person starts moving and moving in a this minus x direction? This person decides that now he will move forward with the velocity Vm is equals to minus of m I cap, and rain is also falling. So if this person started seeing the rain, if this person started seeing the rain, he will see that the rain is falling in this direction, isn't it? Basically, this is the direction of VRM. VRM. Will rain is falling vertically downward, but the person here, if I have to calculate VRM, VRM is equals to VR minus VM. VRM is equals to VR minus of RJ cap minus of Vm is equals to minus of I cap. So I can write this as VRM is equals to minus of Mi cap minus of Rj cap. And you know what? Is this the value which we are getting? Minus Vm plus, this will become plus, this will become plus. That is why we are getting a fourth quadrant. Fourth quadrant where x is positive but y is negative. We are getting a fourth quadrant where x is positive, y is negative. Okay, now Here the person is at rest. Now start moving in another direction. This is the cloud. And the person is moving in this direction. Then he will observe that it might appear that the rain is going in this direction. And you could consider that VRM, and this is the direction of VM. This is MI cap. Okay. So here also, if you want to find out VRM, then its value will be VR minus VM, and velocity of rain is rain will always fall vertically, right? Rain will not go in the horizontal direction. Rain will always fall in the vertical direction. It's the wind due to which it might goes there, and for that quantity you have to get the resultant velocity. But here I'm not considering any wind here. So if there is no wind at all, what you need to require is to get the resultant, to get the relative velocity. So this is the scenario of relative velocity. Here we are basically finding the relative velocity concept. So in this scenario, VR is minus of RJ cap. It's minus of RJ cap, and this minus of I cap, you could write this as minus of MI cap minus of RJ cap. Okay, is this thing clear? And now from here you could able to see that both these values, the x coordinate and the y coordinate, are negative. That means that the rain is falling in the third quadrant, right? I hope that you got this basic idea about the rainman problem. And now let's solve the questions, because it's only when we solve the questions our brain starts developing, right? So this question I have taken from the very old book, H.C. Verma book. The question says that if a man is walking on a level road at a speed of 3 km per hour, so let me consider a man who is walking at a speed of 3 km per hour. Let me consider this direction. I'm taking this as plus, or you could say plus 3 I cap kilometer per hour. Okay, I'm taking this each and everything in the vector quantity, in vector form. So this is the velocity of man. Rain drops falling vertically, because we know that if there is no wind, then rains always falls vertically. So if I'm considering that the rain is falling vertically, let's consider the VR. That will be equals to minus of 4 J cap. The value is kilometer per hour. And what you have to find out, according to the question, you have to find out V rain respect to the man. That means you have to find out VRM, and VRM is equals to VR minus VM. This VR is equals to minus of 4J cap minus of 3I cap. This VRM is equals to minus of 3I cap minus of 4J cap, right? If this person is moving in this direction, you could easily say that the rain is appearing to go in the third quadrant, right? If this person is going in this direction, the rain will be appears to be falling in the third quadrant. This is the value, and if you have to calculate the resultant value here, that means the VRM, the magnitude, you could do one thing: just square them and add them up. Take the root. You'll be getting 5 kilometer per hour. And there might be situation where you have to calculate the direction as well. So to get the direction, do one thing: draw the triangle. We know that rain is falling vertically here, and the person is moving in the forward direction. PR is equals to minus of 4j cap. PM is equals to plus 3I cap. This is the origin point. VR, VM. Okay. And now you have to calculate the angle. This is the angle. Tan theta will be equals to 3 by 4. Okay. And if you remember a basic triangle is take a triplet, take this as 90 degree. This is 4, this 3, 4, and 5. Take this angle. So this angle is 37 degree. This angle is 53 degree. Okay. So now if I'm considering this 3 by 4, the theta will be equals to 37 degree. Okay. So I hope that this question is clear. Ria, is this in clear? Susan Kumar, ready? So ready? Miru, are you from Telangana or Andhra? It's a new channel. So people do not know about this channel. You have to be like support us, because we are here to support you. We are running a free crash course for JEE Main 2025, and I've already taken 3 lectures here, complete theory lectures, in which I have also covered the previous year questions. The previous year question, the basic questions, which is must, yeah, like you have to do that. So we have done that. AP, Andhra Pradesh. Okay. So how are you, Miru Elanaru? Okay, thanks. So, and I want you to spread this word to your friends. Please share this video on your WhatsApp status, and please tag me also when if you are sharing it on the Instagram. Okay. So let's see here. A man standing on the road has to hold his umbrella at 30-degree with the vertical to keep the rain away. So let's read one line and draw the diagram. Basically, the rain is falling at an angle of 30-degree. Okay, with the vertical. He throws the umbrella and starts running at 10 km per hour. He finds that the raindrops are hitting his head vertically. So please let me know that where he will be running. Is it in this direction or in this direction? If he start running in this direction, then the raindrops will move in in this direction. So this is the initial case. Just after few seconds, this person starts running this direction. And due to this, what happens? The rain start to feel that they are falling vertically. You know what does it mean? It means that here I know that there is a component of Vrx and there is a component of Vry. There is horizontal component, the vertical component. Here I could say that if the velocity of man is 10 km per hour, here I could say that if the velocity of man is 10 km per hour, that will be the velocity of rain in x-axis direction. I could write it as Vrx is equals to 10 km per hour. Right? Find the, okay. Now, find the speed of the rain with reference to the road, the moving man. Vrx is clear to me, right? And here, okay. You know what? If this is a 30-degree, this is Vrx. So you could write Vrx at is Vr sine 30-degree. Vr is 20 km per hour. This is particularly a velocity with reference, velocity of rain with reference to road. Are you able to get it? When the person is at rest, he has to hold his umbrella 30-degree from the vertical and started running at a speed of 10 km per hour. If he is running at 10 km per hour, that means that the horizontal velocity of rain will be the same because he is observing that the rains are falling vertically, right? And now here, the moving man, with respect to the moving man, with respect to the moving man, for the second part, Vrm, it will be Vr cos 30-degree, and that is equals to 20 cos 30-degree is root 3 by 2. That will be 10 root 3 kilometer per hour. Okay. So I hope that you are now able to solve this question. Is it ready? Very good, Bhuvan. Very good. Fine. Okay. Now, this question is homework for you. This question is a homework task for you to complete this question similarly to the previous question. Now, let's go for the riverman problem, the last concept of the motion in a plane. In a riverman problem, what we have to do is we have to cross the river. There is some basics which we must follow. The first basic is that if there is a swimmer, if there is a man and he swims at, I'm also a swimmer, if the velocity of man or the velocity of swimmer is given to you in still water. Okay, in still water, the velocity of man is Vm. Now, if there is a river, and river, we know that river flows, this is the velocity of river. And if we combine this thing, a person comes, and velocity of river is there, and person wants to move forward Vm with velocity here. Then what will happen? This person will not go directly to this point. This person will start moving in this direction, and person ultimately reaches here, right? Let's imagine that there is a separation of d distance. Then first thing you have to find out the time. So the time will be d divided by Vm, and from here to here the shift, which is x, will be equals to Vr and time. Okay, so this is the case 1. This is the case 1 when the person is trying to move from A to B directly, but ultimately he reaches to C because of the velocity of river, right? Because velocity of river is going in this direction, velocity of man is going in this direction. Ultimately, there will be some resultant which is going in this direction. So instead of reaching at B, this object reaches at C. So there will be a shift. Shift we can calculate using this thing. And to reach exactly at the opposite end, this person has to move from move at a particular angle, right? Theta. I could say that this is Vm, this is the velocity of river. And if this person really wants to directly reach the B point, then what he has to do is, I can resolve this vector Vm sine theta. This is Vm cos theta. The time here, if you have to calculate the time will be d by Vm cos theta. Second thing is, here Vr is equals to Vm sine theta. These are very, very important. Here you are reaching the exactly opposite end. There is no shift at all. Okay. Let's solve previous year questions. This is the concept. And now let's solve the previous year question. So there we have a question from JEE Main 2021. A swimmer can swim with velocity 12 km per hour. So velocity of swimmer is given to you as 12 km per hour. This is in the still water. The river is flowing at a speed of 6 km per hour. The direction with respect to the direction of the sea. Here, the direction with respect to the direction of flow of river water. He should swim in order to reach the point on the other bank just opposite to his starting point. Right? This is the case 2, right? If you remember, I have only taught you 2 cases for JEE Main. For JEE Main, only these 2 cases are important, because if you see the previous year questions, you won't be seeing any other pattern. But if you are going to like attempting the JEE advanced questions, then it might happen that you would be getting some different cases, right? So currently we are covering the JEE mains level. I'll take a separate video for you to like solving questions on the JEE advanced. So one person is saying, please tell to Nobita ma'am. Okay, please make a video on free study at abroad. Bhuvan, you can do the comment. Fine. Let's move. Please do let me know the answer in the chat. What's the answer here? This is point A, this is point B. Velocity of river is 6 km per hour. And this man has to move in this direction. This is angle theta. right? And I told you that what you have to do is you have to resolve this. So that going to be Vm sine theta. And to reach the exactly opposite end, we know that Vr is equals to Vm sine theta, right? Vr is 6, Vm is 12 sine theta. So I can say that sine theta is equals to 1 by 2 and theta is equals to 30 degree. So theta is equals to 30 degree. But according to the question, according to the question, they want the value from here to here. According to question, they want this angle. So according to question, your answer will be 90 degree plus 30 degree. That means you have to mark 120 degree. So here the answer will be 120 degree. I hope that this thing is clear. What we are doing is that we are comparing the river velocity with the velocity component in the x direction, right? We are comparing the velocity of river from the velocity component in the opposite direction, because when these values are same. 120, sir. After listening to your classes, the questions are very easy to solve, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bhuvan. And please try to come in the live classes. Please try to come in the live classes. And now let's solve another question. JEE Main 2021 question it is. In this question, they are asking a swimmer is swimming with a velocity of 10 meter per second at an angle of 120 degree with the flow and reaches at a point directly opposite on the other side of the river. The speed of the flow is x. The value of x to the nearest integer. I want you to solve it. I want everyone to solve it, and please mark your answer in the chat. Please mark your answer in the chat. You let me know what's the answer. I've already told you, I've already provided you the skills which is required to solve this question. The only thing which is required now is to attempt it. Solve now. 30? Oh, no. See here, a person is swimming. It's the same scenario, the case 2, which I told you. The same scenario it is. This person is wanting to go to the opposite direction from A to B, and the river velocity we do not know, right? This is what we have to find out. So let me assume that this is x meter per second, but I know the velocity of the swimmer. So velocity of men is 10 meter per second, and this is 90 degree, I hope you know, and this is 30 degree, right? So you know that if this x will be equals to Vm sine 30 degree. So this x is equals to Vm sine 30 degree, and the value of Vm is 10, 1 by 2. The value of x is 5 meter per second. So the value of x is 5 meter per second. So this is the correct answer. And now we have finished the complete motion in a plane. And you know what? What is takeaway from this video? What is takeaway from this video? The takeaway is you do not see the picture. Do not see the picture, see the pixels. Divide questions into multiple parts, divide questions into x-axis, the y-axis, and there are only 4 types of questions which might come. The first one is the basic questions, that the x-axis equation will be given, y-axis equation will be given. You have to combine that. The second is the projectile questions. The third is the rainman problem, and the fourth one is the riverboat problem. So only these 4 types of questions are coming. If you have solved previous year questions, or if you are going to solve previous year questions, I can assure you that you can now solve 100% questions on your own. And still, if you face any issues, you can do the comment here, right? And do let me know, and please join our Telegram group. If you haven't joined our Telegram group, please let me know. Okay, divide question in x-axis and y-axis. Okay, and if you haven't joined our Telegram, be a part of the community where we are supporting you to clear the entrance exam in one go with a very high score, right? We want you to reach your potential maximum. So let's wind up this video here. I'll meet you again in the next video. Till then, bye bye.